You may already have enough saved to retire, but retirement is not just all about money. In this video, I'll go through 5 ways every retiree can test drive retirement. Watch to the end and you'll understand what financial and non-financial or life items you may need to fix while you're still working so that you can have a successful retirement. If you go through these, you'll be able to emulate retirement with little risk. The 5 things you need to go through are the financial test, your identity test, location test, activity test, and the connection test. You need to do these 5 tests at least 2 years before retirement, otherwise you may end up with a miserable retirement. Amazon, Walmart, Costco, and most reputable brands are known for their generous return policies. We take this for granted, but these are designed to help make buying easier. When you buy a sweater online and it doesn't quite fit, you ship it back. Most times, return shipping is even included. This reduces purchase friction, and you don't need to spend too much time thinking about what you're going to buy if it's a low-ticket item. Look at the trend, TikTok made me buy it. Most of these are impulse purchases and impulse decisions. However, the word impulse should be the furthest thing from retirement planning. As the weight of decisions increase, more thought and care should go into them. It's probably not smart to buy a car without test driving it first, right? If it's used, you won't go without checking the Carfax or getting a mechanical inspection. When buying a house or even renting a house, you'd want to make sure you do a viewing and you walk through it first, right? I'm sure many of you look at your home and cars as major life decisions. So you make these decisions with care. Guess what? Retirement is a major life decision. So I want you to test drive it first. Retirement isn't a car that you can physically hop into, so you might be wondering how you could possibly test drive retirement. I'll go into detail for the 5 mini tests that lead to a successful retirement test drive. Again, that's your financial test drive, your identity test drive, your location test drive, activity test drive, and your connection test drive. These 5 items will help you figure out if your vision of retirement is what it's cracked up to be. Remember how test drives make it easier for you to buy a car? Your retirement test drive will also make the retirement transition easier for you, allowing you to acclimate so you're not shocked when it's actually time for you to pull the trigger and turn in that resignation or your retirement notice. The financial test, aka the budget test. There are many aspects to financial preparedness in retirement, but this test drive specifically addresses your budget, your planned retirement spending. Naturally, I'm assuming you already have a plan that helped guide you on how much you can comfortably spend or afford monthly without running out of money in retirement. In my last video, I tackled the question, how much will you really spend in retirement? Be sure to check that out in the notes or the links in the comments below. Now, it's time to take those numbers from the spreadsheet land and apply them to real life. This step is particularly crucial if you're used to a high income and your retirement plan might entail a significant lifestyle reduction. For instance, I've advised many executives earning between $250,000 to $500,000 a year. They're naturally accustomed to a certain way of living. Let's make up an example. Let's talk about Pete and MJ. They believe that they can shift from a monthly spend of $15,000 a month to $5,000 a month. While this may be feasible, given that many expenditures will be reduced post-retirement, it's a stark change for them. In a scenario like this, I often stress test the plan with slightly higher monthly figures. Let's say they wanted to spend $5,000, I'll calculate for 7 or 8. If the numbers indicate that 7,000 is feasible, that's where I run the budget test drive. Now, this is how it works. If you believe you can sustain a lifestyle of $7,000 a month, aim to spend only that amount for the next 6 months. Should you find yourself consistently exceeding this budget by the 3rd month, it's a signal that you probably have to recalibrate your retirement spending projections. You can then discuss these findings with your financial planner or refine your plan. This adjustment doesn't necessarily mean a drastic change. If leaving behind a sizable estate isn't a priority, then the impact of spending a little bit more might be minimal. It might just mean that you'll have less left over for your estate. Conversely, if you're consistently underspending, it might indicate that you have room for more flexibility in your retirement plan. So how do you do this test? Step 1, open a checking account. a new one. If you're married or have a partner, ensure that this is a joint account. Step 2, list and automate your essential bills. Document all the bills and expenses that you anticipate will continue in retirement. Transfer these into your newly created retirement account. Step 3, create a retirement paycheck. Each month, only transfer your decided amount, let's say in this case, $7,000, to this account. Ensure all expenses, discretionary or not, are taken from here. Step 4 is to document and reflect. Keep an eye on the spending trends. Look at areas where you might be consistently overspending or you're not spending as much. In the instance where you finish this test and you consistently have more money left over at the end of the month, it shows that you can live on less than $7,000. So your plan is worth revisiting with your financial planner, because that tells us maybe you could actually retire earlier, travel more, or allocate more funds elsewhere to giving, to education, and to other things that will fill up your life in retirement with more joy. This exercise offers a tangible insight into your retirement budget. It's not about scrimping and ensuring that you have a sustainable and feasible numbered plan. It's about enjoying the lifestyle. If you meet that target or that ceiling of $7,000, but you feel just absolutely miserable, then the financial test drive provides a realistic look into that budget. If that's too low of a ceiling for you, you will have to adjust if it doesn't feel good doing so, right? This allows you to approach this new chapter with clarity and confidence as far as fitting the bill with your budget. Retirement test drive number 2, the identity test drive. Who are you when you're not working? For years, our identity, our personality has been linked with our profession. I still go out there calling myself a financial planner, and people turn around and say, is that the same thing as a stockbroker? And then I go in this tirade of explaining why it's different. So I get just how defensive and how attached we can be to our work identity. Right? Maybe you're saying, I'm an engineer, I'm a teacher, I'm a principal. But that leads to a very important question as you're approaching retirement. Who are you beyond your job description? Who are you when you're no longer working? This is important to address before you retire. Maybe 2 or 3 years before you retire, because if our identity is so heavily linked with what we do, I've seen this lead to, dare I say, depression. When retirees finally finish their jobs, they celebrate for a few weeks, all of a sudden the honeymoon phase of retirement is done and they're sad. So I want you to address this now. And the very first step for this test drive is just quiet introspection. Think beyond your job title. Have you always been a planner amongst your friends, the caregiver, the storyteller? Think about that. And look ahead, embrace new roles. Maybe there's new family roles. I have clients who really wish to just be full-time grandparents. They relish the idea that they just get to help their grandkids, take them to school, pick them up, take them to activities. And that's how they want to build their life. They want to plan activities day in or day out around these special traditions between their grandchildren. Maybe you have community roles as well that you want to fulfill. Maybe you want to be a mentor, or maybe a gardener for the community garden, a community organizer, right? These roles in local clubs or groups or associations may bring more meaning to you. Another idea is to look at deferred passions. Maybe there's a hobby that you've always said that you'd pick up once you have the time. Now there's going to be time, whether that's pottery, writing, hiking. Immerse yourself in these activities right now. And actually, we'll talk about that as another test. But once you've gone through these thought exercises, document and consider this. Maybe it starts with just saying, hey, I am a grandma. Keep a journal of this transition and note down your feelings, the roles that you're enjoying and the ones that you're still figuring out. Once you've done that kind of on your own, and or maybe internally if you have a partner, engage in conversations. Talk to fellow retirees or friends about their post-retirement identity. Share yours. Share what you're thinking about. These conversations can be insightful and affirming. The outcome of the test drive is simple. This journey should help you get a clear picture of your identity outside of work. Retirement offers a canvas to paint a new picture of yourself, one that's not confined by 9-to-5 routines, but instead, it's defined by passions, relationships, and personal growth. So here are my final thoughts about this test. Finding your identity beyond your work isn't about replacing one title with another. It's about understanding just how complex or how multifaceted you are as an individual. You're filled with dreams, aspirations, roles, and passions beyond your professional sphere. Remember the joy and anticipation of saying, when I grow up, in your younger days. Now is the time to relive that sentiment. Now that I'm grown up and I'm free to be, who do you want to be? As a financial guide, I'm not just here to assist clients with numbers, but here to support them in this beautiful journey of self-discovery. So I urge you to embrace this new chapter and new roles with joy and enthusiasm. It doesn't need to be scary, especially if you have time before you actually have to pull the trigger. Third test drive you need to go through is the location test drive, ensuring that your chosen spot for retirement actually feels like home. Now, many retirees have a dream destination in mind long before they hang up their work boots or they hang up the computer. Is that a good metaphor? Whatever, when you're done working. However, the idea of this place might seem perfect. Reality could differ, right? We romanticize these future endeavors. So the location test drive ensures that your chosen retirement haven aligns with your day-to-day living expectations. The first step you need to go through is actually book time away, right? Take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks off if you can. Most of you, when you're in the last stages of your career, vacation days are quite generous. So book that time. It needs to be an extended stay. And do your best, of course, to match this staycation with your partner. It can't just be you, right? So plan for an extended visit. It's one thing to love a place during a week's vacation, and it's totally different when you consider living there. If you end up staying for several months, this extended stay will immerse you with the daily rhythms of living in the place. Step 2, after you've booked that extended stay, live like a local. When it comes to your housing, opt for a home or an apartment rental to get that genuine feel. Then build a daily routine. Go beyond tourist attractions. Shop at local grocery stores, participate in community events, and explore neighborhood parks. Look at public services. What's available to you? Familiarize yourself with essential services like your healthcare facilities, banks, post offices, and other amenities. And then, when you're in that area, if you have friends and relatives, make sure you connect with them. But chances are, if this is totally new, it's a new adventure, you might have to connect with your new peers, other retirees. So look at shared experiences. Fellow retirees can offer insights about what it was like relocating, adjusting, and finding pleasures and challenges that they faced once they moved. Ask locals for tips. They can recommend trustworthy services, hidden gems, and community activities tailored for retirees. Another icing on top, if you're really doing this test, let's say you went through the first extended visit and you liked it and it worked well, come back again in a different season. Even if you're familiar with the general climate, living through various seasons will provide insights into aspects like heating costs if it's a cold area, and activities that change based on the weather or weather-related challenges that might be present. And then tie this back to our first test, real-world budgeting. Even if you've anticipated the cost of living, experiencing it when you're actually in this new place firsthand, it's different. Stick to your expected retirement budget, noting any discrepancies or any unexpected expenses. Finally, once you've gone through the test, finish the feedback loop. Maintain a journal during this process and note down any daily things that makes you happy, the challenges, and any feelings of homesickness. Or maybe you're lacking fulfillment because you picked a place that ended up just being a vacation spot instead of a place to actually stay and grow and be your home base, right? So the outcome of this test drive is simple. By the end, you'll have first-hand experience of the life you've chosen. This deep dive will confirm if the reality lines up with your dream or if some adjustments are needed. This is really important because you might be coming back to a place where it's nostalgia that's really driving the decision, right? And that's fueling the daydreams and the vacation that you were playing in your head. It's great to have a vacation, but it's different to start a home base altogether. The good news is you might actually decide after this test that this is a great home base, but only for 2, 3, 4 years. I don't want to age in this location. You wouldn't know that until you've actually looked into it further. Or the opposite is also true. And it just becomes a massive confirmation, further fueling you to really going after the retirement you want. The fourth test drive combines number 2 and number 3. We call it the activity test drive, crafting your ideal retirement day. In the working world, our days are structured for us around our jobs, our responsibilities, meetings, tasks, and so on. Now you're in retirement, the canvas of your day is blank, and that might just get you stuck, waiting, and you're unsure. You might feel like you're furthering the days away, and I've had that exact wording from a client. Now, a blank canvas is great because it's waiting to be painted with activities that bring you joy, fulfillment, and purpose. This activity test drive is all about exploring and refining what you want to fill your days with. So the first step to go through in this test drive is just revisit old hobbies. Dust off that guitar, pick up the paintbrush, or hit the tennis court, now pickleball. Maybe reconnect with past hobbies to see if you still have the same passion that you had in the past. The goal here isn't to vacation. If you were stuck at home, what would you be doing to fill your days? You might even want to look back to March, April, May, June of 2020, when we really didn't know what we could do. How did those days feel to you? Minus the anxiety that we were all facing together. So the next thing that you could do here is explore new interests. Look at classes and workshops in your local community center, local college courses, online classes, or workshops that pique your interest. Look for group activities particularly, right? And I'll explain why. But join a book club, a gardening group, or even dance classes that you can do with your partner. Group settings can provide both learning and social interaction. It's also important to add physical activity here. It's essential that your health and well-being is looked after, whether it's yoga, swimming, hiking, simple daily walks, right? Maybe walking your dog. You need to schedule in ways to maintain your health consistently. Maybe explore volunteering. By offering your skills and time, not only do you benefit the community, but you're also providing yourself a sense of purpose. So explore local charities, schools, churches, and community centers that resonate with your value. We've talked about extended stay, but another idea here is travel exploration. If travel is in your retirement wish list, start making short trips right now. Right? Like make these weekend vacations to the countryside. Calgary, obviously we have Banff, we have Canmore, and we have a lot of beautiful places that we can go hiking around. But maybe a weekend on the countryside or a nearby town that you've never really visited could be enough to just add to your more fulfilling retirement. Now, let's simulate the daily routine, right? Structure a typical retirement day around these activities. How does it feel? Did you take on too many things all at once? Is it too packed? Do you feel like it's too idle? Adjust accordingly. Now, going to almost all of these test drives, right? Like the final step is feedback and tying it to retirement. At the end of these tests, after a few weeks of trying these activities, at the end of each week, reflect on the activities that you did. Which ones actually made you happy? Which ones felt like an obligation? You can be honest, right? Like you might have the best intention of volunteering. Outside looking in, an organization might be great, but once you're actually participating in it, it might just feel like a drag to you. Don't feel trapped. You can change these volunteer activities, right? If it feels like an obligation. Refine your list based on these reflections. And the main outcome of this exploration is to just provide a clear picture on how you actually wish to spend your days in retirement. You'll know which activities resonate with you, which ones you should double down on, and which ones you should totally scrap at least you've wasted a weekend and that's it, you'd never do it again. Retirement is often portrayed as an endless vacation, long walks on the beach, but it's a journey, right? It's a journey of self-discovery. You have the freedom to choose your activities. So you have the responsibility to now craft a life that's actually enriching. Don't abdicate this to anyone, not your financial planner, maybe not even your spouse. Obviously have a conversation. But the activity test drive is your tool to ensure that your newfound freedom actually translates into days of fulfillment, of purpose, and fun, right? As you explore, remember that this is a test drive. You can modify. The final test drive is what I call the connection test drive. It's about nurturing the bonds that you have in retirement. Retirement isn't just a financial journey, it's a deeply personal one. While we often focus on finances, location, activities, and so on, we can't overlook that we need human connection, right? We can't be Carl Fredrickson, like the guy from Up. You guys, have you seen that movie? Human connections give life meaning. The connection test drive helps evaluate and strengthen these essential relationships as you transition into retirement. So here's what you need to do. Step 1, audit your social circle. Make a list of people that you interact with regularly. As a side note, this wasn't written, but just think if these people are in your life by choice or it's just by circumstance. That's it. Just don't think much of that, but just quickly, just as you make that list. Now, reflect on how many of these interactions are tied to your workplace or your daily routine. Who among them will be part of your retirement life? Step 2, after you identify the people that will actually be there with you and for you, and you'll be there for them, deepen the existing bonds, right? If it's family, allocate more quality time with close family members. Emphasize those relationships that you envision being pivotal in your retirement. Now look at old friends, rekindle relationships with long lost friends. There's these people, right, in our lives that became part of our story. We shared memories and experiences with them. Ignite these bonds if you can. And oftentimes this will be actually more effortless than you think. Step 3 is cultivate new relationships. You can get this done through shared interests like joining clubs, workshops, or groups that align with your hobbies. It doesn't just enhance your skills in these particular areas, but it introduces you to potential friends. It's the same thing with your community, right? Like we've already talked about this as far as what activities you'll have, but engage more actively in your community. Attend events that support local causes or simply participate in neighborhood gatherings, right? Like there might be a cookout, a block party, as we call it. I'm not sure what you call those, but step 4 would be to reassess digital connections, right? We live in a modern world. I'm speaking to you via YouTube. I hope I'm making a connection here. But these digital connections and online interactions, like what you have in social media, have their place. However, you need to understand that it needs to maintain a healthy balance with offline and face-to-face interaction as well. If you find the majority of your social interactions now are digital, it's time to seek personal and face-to-face opportunities. Step 5, implement regular check-ins, regular coffee, regular lunches, regular walks or calls with close friends and family members. This rhythm helps nurture and deepen these relationships over time. Number 6 is ask and seek feedback. Engage in reflective conversations. If you have a spouse, this is already built in, right? Talk to them, ask them how they feel about your relationship. And again, this wasn't written on my notes anywhere, but this just came to mind as I'm talking about this. The best investment that you might need to make is actually a couples counseling session or 2. You need to make sure that if you and your partner, your husband, your wife are both transitioning into retirement, your identities, your roles are evolving. And I've seen that cause a lot of friction. So if you can have a professional walk you through that, it's actually worthwhile. I can't measure the ROI on investment returns and percentage returns, but if it allows for a more fulfilling life, I honestly think that's a really great step because dynamics will change. At the end of this exploratory phase, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of your relationship and your need of it as you head into retirement. You'll recognize which relationships need more nurturing, where you're a little lacking and you need to put more time and more effort in, which ones are genuine and which ones actually enrich your life, and unfortunately, which ones you kind of, right? Our connections, these shared moments and mutual support systems form a heart of fulfilling retirement. As you pivot from work-centric experiences, it's essential to ensure that these human connections thrive. The connection test is structured to approach what steps you need to really look at in your retirement years, so you're surrounded by people that you actually want to be there as you celebrate these milestones. Remember, retirement isn't just a phase, it's a reinvention. It's an opportunity to align your life more closely with your core values and your deepest desires. While numbers and spreadsheets are essential tools, they don't capture the essence of who you are and what you truly want to achieve in this significant chapter. If anything, this is the first time in your life where you actually get to decide exactly who and what you want to be. So I want you to embrace it. It's more than just financial comfort. It's about realizing a vision that resonates with your soul, dare I say. So if you're ready to move beyond mere numbers and embark on a journey that genuinely reflects your aspirations, I invite you to take the first and most crucial step when working with us. Book a values discovery call with me. It's my mission to help our clients like you craft a vision for retirement that's deeply personal and immensely satisfying, that is really aligned with the essence of who they are, of who you are. Because at the end of the day, a truly rich life, a truly rich retirement is about living your values, realizing your dreams, and embracing every moment with purpose and passion. Book your values discovery call. That's complimentary. I don't like starting any financial planning engagements without getting to know my clients. So let's begin this journey together, ensuring that your retirement isn't just comfortable, but meaningful and remarkable. I'm excited to meet you. Happy retirement. Good luck.